Three, two, one. I'm hitting buttons. What's up, YouTube? Oh, I hear my wife going in the other room. CD Andrews, how are you, sir? Today is, what's up, Colonel Corn? Today is June 24th, 2018. Colonel Corn smoking brisket. It is the week after Father's Day. It is go time. We're going full throttle in this bad boy. Woo-ha! Pumped to be back. I took me a much needed break from YouTube, and I feel refreshed and rejuvenated. Sometimes I got to just step away from it all, collect myself. So I apologize for the delay between videos there, but between the balance between work life and personal life, I have to maintain that. And sometimes that means you just got to step away from it all. So today we're back. We're live, baby. You know how I like to start this off real quick. Let's get a roll call and see who's in the chat. I'm going from my phone today because I left my computer at the office, so I'm going to struggle a little bit keeping up with the chat, but I will do the absolute best I can here. Scott G, the beard is looking rough, man. I need to trim it up. Sapphire, what's up, sir? Alfred, how are you? Chris Voigt. We've been chatting over on the Lawn Forum Discord in the shenanigans room. Big thanks to Chris Gibson for setting that up. My man, Ray Ito, the Hawaiian lawn doctor himself. The Green Doc of Hawaii. And that is true. I will attest to that is Ray in a nutshell. He's the Green Doc. KD0 has poison ivy. Must kill it all. Triclopyr is a good place to start. Crossbow works well too. Add a little ammonium sulfate, maybe a little urea in the tank, however you want to go about it. But crossbow, 2,4-D, triclopyr, and a nitrogen source will be a good start to you. CD Andrews, you're right. Hashtag get your work-life balance right. I think Pete's done a couple videos on that were absolutely stellar, and that's one of the things that kind of inspired me to step away sometimes. Ronald Parrish, how are you? Every time I go off of my phone, I get a little I get one error there that shuts it down, but I'm back. Let me scroll back up on the chat here. Steak and Shake, how are you, good sir? Michael Mangano, what's up, dude? Kevin, welcome back from South Knoxville. Buddy, you are just down the road. We should get together. Have some high fives. All things, weed whack that thing, he says. Yep, that is one thing, but it doesn't exactly get rid of it. So I like the triclopyr route. Jay Wyrick, how are you, sir? Always like seeing you around. John, the AT&T Teague. What's up, man? Tiff Grant is killing neighbor's fescue as dead as a hammer. I can attest to that. I'm out treating the fescues, and woo, man, they are toasty right now. Luis Cardona. How are you, good sir? Mr. Lane, how are you? Hey, God bless you, Mr. Louise. God bless you. D. Moore, Matty Ice, what's up? What's up to you, Mr. Moore? How are you, good sir? Bought you a bio pack today. Hey, Mike, you're going to have a ton of fun with that. Glad you found me. Welcome aboard the Soul Train. Paul's Prime Cuts. How are you, good sir? It was funny. We were just talking in the Lawn Forum Discord chat today about how funny your videos are. You've got a lot of it is intentional humor, but you hide it in there so well. And always good to see you here, Paul. Telly Coleman, the helicopter captain himself. He's not a Learjet captain. He's a helicopter captain. What's up, Telly? Hey, from Nashville. Hey, from Knoxville to Nashville. How about that? CW, how are you, good sir? Lakeland, Florida. What's going on, Floyd? Good to see you. Colonel Corn, retracting messages. I don't know what's up with that. AV Guy, how are you, good sir? I reckon we've been chatting it up here a little recently over in the Lawn Forum Discord. Oh yeah, I do need to weed whack the beard. You're right, buddy. I mean, it's a little obnoxious right now. Maybe tonight before I go to bed, I'll get it trimmed down because I got a couple of videos I got to get out here. Maybe look somewhat presentable in them. Chamber bitter can't get a handle. AV guy, if you're dealing with chamber bitter, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're dealing with warm season grass. There is a product Lesco puts out called Momentum FX2 that works well. You can also mix something like metsulfuron methyl and combine it with a 2,4-D. Will do a good job on your chamber bitter. Or if you're okay with a little turf injury, you could do like a product like Crossbow. That is a 2,4-D triclopyr combo. Again, will damage your warm season grass if it's Bermuda. But I need to know, what is your primary turf type? I'm kind of out there on a limb. Yeah, Paul is killing it. He's got a great comedic take. Don't forget your PPE, people. That's right. What's up from Man Bunville up there in New York? Glenn? Yes, sir. Full head of hair and a beard. Lawn chemicals are not that bad. You know, my hair is hanging on. It is thinning. It is thinning, but it's hanging on. And I would say that a lot of the thinning just deals from the fact that being a dad is one of those things. A lot of stress in being a dad. Hey, don't tread on mining. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you, and I hope you continue to keep checking in. John Ware, what's up, man? Brian Reese is here. It's time to get on fire. On fire. What's the link for the Discord server? I don't know, Willie Alejo. It is the Lawn Forum, though. I found it by Googling Discord, thelawnforum.com. Oh, I lost the chat. All right, it's back. Nasty weather in Michigan, 95, 105. Lots of rain. My lawn needs it. Anything to help heat stress. I put down some microgreen one day before it rained Saturday. Okay, Ronald, here's one of those things. When you're dealing with heat stress, you know, there's an old tactic that we use back in golf, and it's syringing greens. And what you do is you artificially, well, not artificially, you cool the soil surface to help preserve the crowns of the plant. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with something like heat stress, you're going against the genetic makeup of the plant. So there's not a lot you can do. But syringing will help maintain the health of the plant through that heat stress. So when you do get through it, it will recover quickly. Other than that, there's not really much you can do. If you're at 95, 105, really, it's best to just leave it alone. Don't mow it. Keep watering it. And pray for cooler temperatures. That's about all you can do. AV guy, you're in Bermuda. Yeah, man. So I would do like a 2,4-D MSM mix, or a like a Crossbow or Momentum FX2 that has a triclopyr fluroxypyr 2,4-D in it. Again, gonna damage your Bermuda, but will work extremely well on your chamber bitter. John Pinkerton, thank you for tuning in, even though you drink frilly little pink drinks. Just kidding. That's an inside joke between John and I. For those of you that don't know, John Pinkerton is the owner of That One Cupcake Place. Huh! Who is donating money? That, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go get you. One, thank you. I keep counting today. Two, I didn't know you could do that over mobile. That's crazy. But seriously, thank you. John Pinkerton is the owner of That One Cupcake Place in Hiawatha in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Delicious stuff, by the way. He sent me buckets of cupcake batter that did not have eggs in it, that were designed to be eaten as batter, and the thing is like unreal. It's amazing. I see videos of your machine and Pete from GCI spraying fert to the lawn, and you don't drown the lawn. Do I have it all backwards? Because I apply, say, RGS. I tend to apply it until runoff. Do you have any advice on which method is better? I'm OCD. I feel as though I have hit every blade in the entire blade with product. RGS thick and hair too. I don't think so, Aaron. I don't think so. Although from the looks of it, you never know. Carlsberg, Carl, let me tell you a little bit about that. So, you know, it's really all a matter of preference. When you're doing I see more money going into the chat now. This is obnoxious. Thank you. It's 100% not necessary. Thank you so much. It's all about your preference as far as volume that you want to get down. When you're doing a foliar, typically you want to run a higher volume. You don't have to go crazy high on the volume, but that 2 gallon per thousand, 3 gallon per thousand, even down to 1 gallon per thousand, you're going to get great coverage on that leaf blade. Then, kind of the newer way things are going with these machines for spraying fert is low volume and even ultra low volume. I don't spray traditional fertilizers at low volume or ultra low volume. So I apply at 10 gallons of diluted material to an acre. So I would consider that low volume. Well, it is low volume. That's borderline ultra low volume. And what happens is that you're getting the same amount of concentrate out, but you don't have as much carrier. So you're right that in the sense that spraying ultra low volume like that, you probably don't have the leaf coverage. Well, that's just it. You don't have the leaf coverage of something that when you're applying a gallon or 43 gallons to the acre or 80 gallons of carrier to the acre. You're right. You don't have the same amount of coverage. That doesn't mean it doesn't work, though. It may not be 100% efficient. It may drop your efficiency rate to 90%. But in terms of ease of application, that may be what you prefer to do. So for me, I prefer to use my machine. One, it reduces my amount of exposure to the material I use. Two, it's faster than I am. Three, it's more accurate than I am. When you're treating lawns professionally, one of the things you have to take into account is the fatigue factor. And so when you're pulling a hose and you're walking a lawn, by the end of the day, you've sprayed 200,000 square feet. Your pace at which you walk is not the same. The pace at which you pull hose is not the same. And so what happens is by the end of the day, you're spraying heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier, at least was my experience. Or I would trip just from fatigue and I would miss an area and then you try and catch it coming back, but you're applying liquid and it's hard to tell how all that's working. The machine doesn't make mistakes. The machine doesn't get tired. So as long as I can apply the brain to the machine, I get the same output and I will give up a small amount of efficiency for the overall lack of error that occurs by doing it by hand. I hope that helps. Thank you guys. This is unnecessary. Thank you for the donations. It was Alan Hain kicking things off. Alan, I'll syringe your greens whenever you would like. Did you get to try the new fertilizer yet? Larry George, we got all kinds of things going on with the new fertilizer. Yeah, it will get there as it gets there. Asami, my wife, thank you. My wife designed the grass factor hat that I'm wearing right here. Thank you, babe. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Do you kill weeds first before applying soil fertilizer? First time lawn renovation. Thanks. Okay, Dow, and this is typically what I do. It depends on the time frame that I have to get my renovation done. So if I'm picking up a yard in October and I've got to fully renovate it with a cool season grass, typically I will spray, fertilize, and do all my seed work at the exact same time. If I'm using a non-selective for a renovation like a glyphosate, I do it all at the same time. The way glyphosate works is that it has to actually be taken in by the leaf tissue in order for it to translocate throughout the plant. So but by applying it at the time of seeding, you're not applying it to leaf tissue. At that point, you would be applying it to weeds and other grasses that are out there. And by the time the fescue or whatever seed has germinated to come up, all of that glyphosate has become inert material at that point and will not affect your new seed. And what's kind of interesting is that by applying your glyphosate at the same time you seed, typically you get a big rush from that decaying plant material. It immediately breaks down into the ground as organic matter. Well, immediately it dies, and then it gets consumed by the microbes in the soil, turns into organic matter, provides a food source for that new grass that's going to be coming up. So pretty awesome stuff in the sense when you time it like that with a renovation. I've got chamber bitter and some sedges in the flower bed and around the shrubs that I prune. I have snapshot. Any other recommended treatment for that area? Colonel Corn, if you're dealing with sedges and stuff like that, I would probably do like a Roundup or a glyphosate, a dismiss or sulfentrazone, and your snapshot. Snapshot, the active ingredient is isoxaben, which is very effective in preventing chamber bitter. So by going out with a post and a pre-emergent at the same time like that, you are going to maximize your results. Let's see here. Let me scroll up. Let's see. Fusillade, Triclopyr, and Tenacity is as good as it gets, or Acclaim Extra. There we go. There we go. Have you tried Hydrotane? Yes. I'm thinking Agrotane. Is Agrotane the same thing as Hydrotane? Are you talking about Uflex, which would be like a N-butyl? I can't remember the end of the active for it, but it's an N-butyl something. And usually the U-Max is mixed also with dicyamine, and they are urease inhibitors. Again, a urease inhibitor. Have I used it? Yes, I've used a significant amount of it. For many years, that was my primary go-to, is that I would run PCSU and Uflex at the same time. And it's good stuff. You get a very, very nice color from the Hydrotane. And the way it works is that urea, in order to become plant available, has to react with the enzyme urease. So urea will react with an enzyme urease, and then it'll turn into NH3 and CO2. NH3 is ammonia. Ammonia would be a closer to a usable form of nitrogen for the turfgrass plant. So by blocking that enzyme from converting urea to urease, it makes that urea stay in an unusable form. Then, as that Agrotane begins to wear off, the enzyme becomes available, the conversion takes place. So it's more of a urea delayer. Something like that. All right. The chat is flying tonight. All right, let me get up here. I needed to buy my Bermuda with nitrogen. I put down some 3606 Miracle Grow lawn food. 2 days later, 5.5 inches of rain in a few hours. Did it all wash away? Is it gone? Should I do it again? All things high, probably not. It probably did not wash away, especially being Miracle Grow. You're going to have a lot of methylene urea in that. So no, I think the chances of it washing away are very, very low. I would not be concerned about that. Give it a couple weeks, see what it does. If it looks like you're not getting a good color response, then maybe drop out like a half rate or a quarter rate and kind of goose it back up. The Lawn Stripes. What's up, my man? Chance Lane, how are you, good sir? I'll give you the wave, like the emoji you gave me. Bought some compaction cure from the Lawn Care Nut today. It's a good place to start. I'm not going to donate, but I love you nonetheless. Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate it nonetheless. Ultra low volume was my Alan Haynes here, everybody. Alan Hayne. That's Burnsomatic is your friend for flowerbed weeds. Garden hose takes care of torch accidents. You might need a kidney or liver transplant if something goes wrong with the diquat. This is true. Diquat and paraquat are very, very hard on human bodies. That's why you don't see it out there as much. That is why I do not swing Chemlawn guns. That's right. Ray has a very unique way. It is unique. His system he built that he uses to apply is very unique. And I think that is one of the great things about his system is that it does eliminate a lot of that fatigue. Now, Ray, the other thing too is that I would not be able to control my walking speed, especially carrying around 5 gallons of liquid or 7 gallons of liquid in a backpack like that. I would really be struggling. So that would be tough. Let's talk about your fert. Come on, Matt. We'll get there, Ronald Parrish. We will get there. Holla, Lawn Forum Discord, guys. Cool peeps on there. There we go. Holla, says Carlsberg Carl. When spraying fungicide for gray leaf, do we water in if we are spraying with a backpack sprayer using LCN device with Eagle? If you are I would say, don't water it in for 24 hours, Julio. And then after 24 hours, you can water it in. With Eagle, you're not just going to get a significant amount of uptake taking place at the crown. So you don't have to worry about a lot of that. But it's always best to get it watered in and make sure that happens. I just had, man, Mac Attack, good for you, buddy. I feel for you, brother. Apparently the going rate, but iOS not letting me do 0 pennies. John Pinkerton is an iPhone user, and we give him a really hard time about that over in the Discord. Any tips on slight rabbit damage recovery? I would just a light rate spoon feed fertilizer and bring that back out, and that will help your rabbit damage. Android Pinky. My fert that's coming out, I'm going to have 3 different blends, and one of them will be purely organic. The other 2 will be bridge products. To put on some bamboo is driving me nuts. What in the name of middle will kill bamboo shoots? That's a good one. That's a really good question, Paul. I will tell you at least what I have been coached to do on that, and I've done with limited success is, slice stalks and fill them with glyphosate. That works, but it takes a significant amount of time to do that. So that's tough. Coming out 50% kill, all look like the same weed, so unsure why all didn't kill. John, Celsius is one of those things where I feel like blanket applications of Celsius are better than spot treatments of Celsius because you get a lot of variability in your Celsius applications. I don't know why. Part of it could be the surfactant you use. Part of it could be the pressure of your pump sprayer. There's so many different factors that go into it, but I tend to have bigger issues with Celsius than anything else. Now, you may have done a blanket application. I don't know. I just saw one of your comments. You may have done a blanket application. Then that could be a whole different thing. It could be the bouncing of your wand as you're walking. It may cause slight variations. It could be, every time you take a step and then take your next step, you may be moving at an uneven pace there. Celsius is just one of those things that is a really touchy herbicide. Also, what rate did you use? Because that can be influential whether or not you get a full cure or not. Ooh. Bro, drink more and pee in the spots. There you go. Pee on your bamboo. There you go. Carlsberg Carl, we need the rain here too. We keep getting these little bits of wannabe rain, but nothing really actually taking off right now. Gene DeClo, how are you, good sir? Thank you for tuning in from the old Cary, North Carolina. A lot of North Carolina guys in here. We got Seize the Day in here. He's a good buddy of mine. Let's see if we can make him an administrator of the chat because he's got it all figured out. How do you get centipede grass to spread quickly to cover large bare spots? Thanks. Now, Owens, there's not a good answer for this. So to understand how to make centipede spread quickly is to kind of understand the nature of the grass. It's not designed to spread quickly. If you have to do something, I would do ultra low rates of nitrogen, focus on your micronutrient complexes, and get after the centipede that way. Another thing you can do is use a growth regulator like Trinaxapac, and then do a ferrous ammonium sulfate mix. But again, keep in mind you got to go ultra low rate on your actual nitrogen inputs. And make sure you have a low pH. That's going to be a big thing. I'm planning out my Celsius app for my entire front yard. Would you recommend a surfactant with that app? Also, wanted to see the app sand and blue dye. Any problem with going heavy with the dye? Fortune, sometimes if you go super heavy with the dye, You'll block certain pigments in the plant, and it can interrupt a little bit of photosynthesis, and you'll get some discoloration from the dye. But that's at a really, really high rated dye, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. And then with, yes, absolutely recommend a surfactant. I would recommend a crop oil concentrate as a surfactant with your Celsius. Again, expect discoloration with Celsius. That's just the nature of the beast. It causes discoloration. It's going to cease the growth of your Bermuda grass. Just take it, deal with it, run with it. The results will be worth it. What's the best way to tackle dollar spot in Bermuda? Chris Windorf, probably fertilizer, and a good, decent rate of potassium too. Typically, if you're dealing with a dollar spot issue, if you're dealing with cool season grass, I would say really get your potassium rates up there. And the same would apply to Bermuda grass. If you're dealing with dollar spot, get your potassium rates up there, and a good, solid quick release fertilizer like ammonium sulfate would do wonders for it. Let's see, how long to wait to follow up on grubs already damaged? I applied Dialox on property Friday. Brian, that's a tough one. Okay, so what I'm seeing with Dialox in particular is less and less activity. Dialox has to be watered in immediately after application in order to get a good kill. If you're dealing with grubs right now, I mean, it seems a little early to be dealing with grubs, but I don't know where you're at either. You may want to use a product like Meridian. Meridian has a quick knockdown as well as systemic activity. Also, I'm drawing a blank. What is the new grub control that's replacing the neonicotinoids? Acelepryn. Acelepryn has a good knockdown activity at the high rate. So keep that in mind if you're worried about cost there. It can be expensive. There's Ray there. M plus K plus micronutrients. There you go. Would you continue to mow Bermuda even if it's been 3 weeks with no serious rain? I love mowing, but I see it's starting to go dormant in patches. I don't water my lawn. Continue to cut or no. If it's beginning to go dormant, no, don't cut it. That just places unneeded stress on the plant itself. RVA here. What's up? What's up? Ronald Pear says, send me some to try in Michigan. We'll get there, buddy. We will get there. Break out the sprinkler. Yeah. Had to do that today, and I'm almost done with the front yard. This is my first time in the live chat. Love the show here in Bradenton, Florida. How about them apples? Future former lawn noob. Thank you for tuning in, man. Hope you stick around. Got some interesting characters in here, that's for sure. We get to see the wild side of old Alan Hain in here, and that's a ton of fun. I need some Georgia folks to set me straight. Fescue, Zone 8, and Paul's Prime Cut is helping for show. Man, if you're dealing with fescue up there, and I'd say you're probably in North Georgia, maybe closer to the Atlanta area, man, that's a tough place to grow fescue. I got a buddy in Atlanta that deals with a little bit of fescue, and it's one of those things. It's just very cyclical. The one saving grace you have, Jeremy, is if you can control your irrigation, typically you can control the life of the plant. One thing I would do most definitely in Georgia that I don't have to do just a ton of here would be Pythium prevention. And however you want to go about that, you can use a product like Methanoxam, Subdue, or you can use more like the old traditional phosphite fertilizers for Pythium prevention. When you're dealing with over 90-degree days and over 70-degree nights, Pythium is a real issue. I've seen a lot of it this year, even here. I'm fighting fungus and I've applied Bayer 2 times at the recommended rate. Should I try fertilizer? Anthony, it depends on what kind of fungus you're dealing with, because some funguses are going to react negatively to fertilizer. If you are going to fertilize, spoon feed it in combination with your fungicide. I don't know what the Bayer fungicide is, so depending on what the active ingredient in that fungicide is, it may not be the right active ingredient for the particular fungus you're dealing with. So keep that in mind. Pilex went up as much as $100 more. I found it cheaper here. Industrialvm.com. Let me post hyperlinks. Hope that helps. Man, that is awesome. IndustrialVM.com. Rob, if you don't mind, shoot me a text with that in it. Not even sub to this person who just popped in my feed. What's up, Luminous AGR? Welcome to the show. It is a wild ride here. We're talking about the lawn and the garden. Luminous, I don't know where you live, what part of the country you're in, but if you want to tell me about it, tell me about your yard, your turf type, or your desire to have a particular type of turf type. Not just me, but a lot of people in these chat rooms will be able to help take your lawn to the next level there, buddy. And if you're not a lawn guy, you're concerned about the environmental impact your lawn may have, let me tell you that lawns, high-performing monoculture stands of turf grass, are the biggest consumers of atmospheric carbon in our environment. To put that into perspective, a home lawn that is well maintained consumes 3 times as much atmospheric carbon as the same square footage, the same acreage of a forest. 3 times as much over the same area as a forest over the same area. It's tough stuff. Kyle Ben, what is your take on Momentum from Lesco? Momentum FX2 is a great product. I love it. I love it a lot. Very versatile. Dane, for crabs, best thing to do is to get a clinic. There you go. Sees the day's got jokes, man. Somebody double make that guy the administrator. He is up there. So what's a typical length of time for nutsedge off after having been hit with pro sedge? Haven't mowed 2 days before app and 2 days after app will be tomorrow. The lawn stripes, it can take upwards of a month to kill it. So don't get beat up now. After you mow it, you'll see that sulfonyl ureas typically have the effect of ceasing growth, so you're not going to get a lot of grow back. As it tries to grow back, that's usually when you'll see the discoloration in the plant begin to take place. It is a slow product. Are you going to do a video on Speed Zone or Tenacity? I had not planned on it, but I can Alpha. Actually, Tenacity, I take that back. There is one I do want to work on with Tenacity. Speed Zone is a good product, Alpha, but I'm not super... I don't just love it. Typically, if I'm running a Speed Zone, I will roll my own. Speed Zone is one of those easy ones to mix. It is label rate of Quicksilver and label rate of 3-way. And in that instance, you do get a touch more 2,4-D in it. And then if you really want to mimic your Speed Zone, you can switch to a 2,4-D ester. And you are good to go. South Florida Boca Raton Grub question. Down there in SoFlo. The old SoFlo. Let's see here. What's the difference between ammonium sulfate and ammonium phosphate? Is one better than the other and use cases? Ammonium phosphate is a phosphorus fertilizer that also has ammoniacal nitrogen. Ammonium sulfate is an ammoniacal nitrogen that also contains plant available sulfate. So one has plant available phosphorus, the other has plant available sulfur, and they're both ammoniacal nitrogen sources. Ammonium phosphate, again, phosphorus. Can fulvic acid aid in the uptake of herbicides like a surfactant? Michael Lane, the short answer, it's anecdotal, yes. Long answer, there's no real study to back that up, but I can say that during the summer months, I feel like I have enhanced activity and unintentional damage on desired turf grasses due to the inclusion of Humics in tank mixes. So sometimes that's a good thing if you need to get a good kill. Typically, I still include a surfactant, though, because humic acid in and of itself isn't necessarily a surfactant. It's not designed to break that surface tension where a true surfactant is. But that's anecdotal. And then there's also evidence that shows things like humic and fulvic acids also can reduce the efficacy of herbicides due to the reaction that takes place with the organic acids and the herbicides. So keep that in mind. It goes both ways. Some say it helps, some say it hurts. It's just tough to say. He's always first to work. Make him an admin. That's right. That's right. CD, where you at? I'm gonna make you an admin. The other Lane is in the house. Love the show, sir. Matt Lane. What's going on, man? There is no such thing as a Bermuda weed. That is Bermuda grass and is a very high performance turf grass. Mr. Duclos. Add the lowest rate to dismiss the process to speed up the visual effects. Yep, that's a good way to do it right there. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it. Matt Lane is so Chance Lane. That's funny. I don't know. Let me see if I can tap on a name here. And I don't think I can from my cell phone make you an admin, CD. I'm going to try here. Nope, I don't think I can from my phone. Whoops, I hit the wrong button there. Don't need to do that. No, I can't from my phone, CD. Otherwise, I would do it. All right, let me get up here. Chris Boyd, what are you doing? Chris, have you lost your mind? What are you doing? Thank you, sir. Unnecessary. Thank you. My goodness. What is going on here? Man, the chat is flying. Let's see here. Matt Long survived the cottonwood seed attack from last week without a fungicide. Greg Thalanda, good to see your name, buddy. That was good stuff. I could not find any fungicide at a big box store. It's my only option online. Mac Attack, probably, sir. Probably. Interesting point in theory. Then I'm diluting my RGS with more water with the hose-in sprayer, but you use ultra-high concentrate because you use less water. Interesting. Yep, that's right. Are there any herbicides that you would recommend for vegetable gardens? I spent all afternoon pulling sedge, broadleaf, and grassy weeds. Not fun. Steak and Shake, I don't know enough about agriculture to be able to guide you in that direction. I just honestly don't feel comfortable with that. Sorry, buddy. Cottonwood was brutal to Connor. Man, it was, wasn't it? That was really tough. I applied Stay Green fertilizer with crabgrass preventer this April. I have a Kentucky bluegrass yard. How do I get rid of some of the clover? Okay, so Stay Green fertilizer with crabgrass preventer doesn't have any post-emergent weed control in it. It has a pre-emergent weed control in it, so it tries to prevent things. However, if you already have weeds there, you have to do something to eliminate them because they've already emerged. So you have to use a post to control what has already emerged versus a pre to control it before it emerges. So if you're dealing with something like clover, a good broadleaf-based herbicide that contains something like 2,4-D will do a wonderful job this time of year on clover, assuming that it's actively growing. The caveat there is that the clover has to be actively growing. If it's so hot that it has ceased growing, it will not work very well. Can I use Echelon 4SC as a pre-emergent this fall? As long as you are not seeding, a little another delay from the old app closing there, but I'm back. Like I was saying, yes, you can use Echelon 4SC as a fall pre-emergent. However, if you plan on seeding, do not do it at all. Well, I guess you're not. If you're using Echelon in the fall, you're not that concerned with it. But yes, WWH, you definitely can. Think about getting Speed Zone. What type of surfactant should I use? I'm in the cool season area. Should I add quinclorac to spike it? Alpha Aquarium, you definitely can add quinclorac to spike it. That's going to broaden your spectrum of control. As far as a surfactant with something like Speed Zone that is already ester-based, and it's going to have esters from two different sources. You're going to have it from the carfentrazone ethyl, and then you're also going to have it from the 2,4-D ester in it. So in terms of a surfactant with the heat we're facing, you probably don't need one. However, if you're in a part of the country where it may be a little cooler, you just want to use something like a non-ionic surfactant. Caesar, howdy, Matt. What's your opinion on compost teas on the lawn, or even a back guano? Kind of Ward did something with it, but on his pots. There is nothing wrong with compost teas. It's a great thing to do to your yard. It's a different realm. It's something different for your lawn, and it's not really adding a true macro or a true macronutrient complex, and usually it's pretty diluted in terms of micronutrients too, but the potential for you to apply live biology to your lawn is there. I wouldn't do it all year long with every application, but if you need a quick release from buildup in your soil, whether that be thatch or whatever the case may be, compost tea is something good to do. Bat guano is going to be more along the lines of organic matter, applying organic matter to your lawn. So that would be similar to like a biosolid or a bone meal or a chicken manure, something like that. So I have a fescue backyard and a Bermuda front with highs in the 90s and lows in the 60s. How should I go about treating it this summer in California? So you would have to run 2 different programs there, Peg Junk, with your Bermuda grass. Obviously, you want to keep it well fed through the peak growing season here that we're entering into. Keep it mowed. Mow as much as you humanly possibly can, even if that means every day. The more you mow it, the better it's going to perform. With your fescue in the backyard, if it's beginning to shut down due to the heat, 1, make sure you are protected in terms of disease as you continue to water. 2, try not to mow it, because the more you mow it, the more water you potentially cut out of the plant, the more stress you put on the plant and the grass. So keep the fescue watered. Deal with any fungus that attempts to show up, and feed your Bermuda grass properly, and mow all your Bermuda grass. Let's see. Pete from GCI has organic herbicide for gardens. There you go. Where is the low mow rebel? I have not got my real mower yet, but I did wear my shirt all day yesterday, and it was really nice going out with public. And I got several questions yesterday when I was wearing that Lawn Rebel shirt. It was awesome. It was awesome. Unfortunately, there weren't questions about Connor Ward, which I much rather have talked about than people asking me, what does Lawn Rebel mean? What's up? Help with brown patch. Marco, dealing with brown patch Rhizoctonia solani. I recommend a strobilurin fungicide. However, one thing to keep in mind is that strobilurin fungicides are prone to develop resistance. Well, the disease is prone to develop resistance to strobilurin fungicides, so you have to alternate different classes. So, for instance, if you go out with the strobilurin first, you may want to follow it with the DMI, or you may want to apply both a strobilurin and a DMI at the same time. But, products like propiconazole, tebuconazole, azoxystrobin, floxystrobin all work wonders in controlling brown patch. Hashtag FertSquirt, Chris Voigt. Thank you, sir. Thank you, man. Any updates from your friend that got the TifTuf that went crazy and got weird disease that UGA was investigating? Okay, John T., this is really interesting, and I hope the guy that I talked to about this is actually in the chat. Michael Lane, was it you? There's a guy at UGA, well, in Georgia area, that had TifTuf that was genetically reverting back to mid-iron Bermuda. Really kind of interesting thing there. And if that guy's in the chat, please holler at me. I would like an update on that. And John Teague, as soon as I find out about it, I'll pass that information on to you. But that was a really interesting thing. Tifton, Georgia, where they do all these research and develop all these new Bermuda grasses, the way they develop these Bermuda grasses is they blast Bermuda grass with cobalt, radioactive cobalt. The app dropped, but they blast it with radioactive cobalt, and that's how it comes to life. That's how they develop it. So anyway, that's how that works. All right, let me scroll up here in the chat. Man, I'm way behind. Wow, I am maxed out on the chat. That's as far north as I can get here. Grass Factor, good looking guy. How do I trim cattails? That's a good question there, Peter. You use a blade and hack them down. Somebody make good looking an administrator too. What seed? Oh, okay, that's not for me. Aerate and Bermuda not needed. Someone said because of the strong rhizome nature of Bermuda, aerate not necessary. Thoughts are trying to decide on what to buy from Green County Fertilizer. I see is releasing nitro soon, etc. JP, increasing the porosity of the soil, increasing the soil surface area is always a good thing. So I'm not going to say that you don't need aerate. Really, it all depends on how you're looking to structure your program. Would be, how to decide on what to put on your lawn. There's many different things. There's many different ways you can go about it. But first off, to say that a soil does not need more surface area or doesn't need an aeration because of a particular type of grass type, that's not true. So anyway, keep that in mind. But really, it all depends on your program. If you want to shoot me an email with your program in it, I'll take a look at it and let you know which way to go. Matt, back in North Carolina, is a potting soil and all-purpose sand mix a good combination to fix low spots in Bermuda? Steve, yeah, you can do that. I usually don't like potting soils because they typically have a fertility load in them, and sometimes that can burn grass. Ask me how I know, because I've done it, and I've burned the fire out of some grass. So maybe just sand is a better bet. What herbicide kills chamber bitter? What does a good job on torpedo grass? Torpedo grass, you're looking at quinclorac. Herbicide for chamber bitter, look for something like fluroxapyr and 2,4-D, 2,4-D ester, fluroxapyr, 2,4-D ester, and triclopyr. All of those will work well. Should water that stuff in immediately. Alpha aquarium, no, let it go through a little bit of dry time before you water that in. I'm told to coordinate Discord and chat at the same time. Trouble with my iPad. Shout out to Lawn Care Nut. That's right. Should I plant grass over my grass? This guy right here, he is killing it, boy. When using bios, do we need to monitor pH changes? If so, how often? Thank you. JP, just as a general rule of thumb, depending on what your subsurface rock structure looks like, it's always good to monitor your pH. That being said, once you get into a rhythm and once you build up enough soil organic carbon, then you're not going to be able to fluctuate your pH as aggressively. So it would actually become very difficult to move your pH the more organic carbon you have in the soil. And typically the more neutral your pH is going to be, so you don't have to worry about wild swings. So getting it to that point, getting it to the point where you have 4% organic matter, or even at the high end 5% organic matter, would be about where you don't really have to worry so much about your soil pH. How you see from Super Seed? Let's see here. Let me give him some blue note. You go see. Give him that. Just got a biostim pack. Anything special I should know? Michael, man, no, not really. Just get it down and don't be nervous about it. Just throw it all down. Chris Gibson, what are you doing? I told the chat I was doing. Let's see here. My lawn is mostly Bahia with some Bermuda. I wanted to go all Bermuda. What's the best way to do this? Located in North Central Florida. Jason Malone, I would probably hire a professional to come out and make an application of a product called metsulfuron methyl. That's not to take that away from you. It's just that metsulfuron methyl is a very, very dangerous herbicide in the sense that it can cause a lot of collateral damage and requires very, very precise application. So with metsulfuron methyl, which kills Bahia grass and does not kill Bermuda grass, at a ½ ounce to the acre, it kills weeds. At 1 ounce to the acre, it kills trees. At 2 ounces to the acre, it kills soil. So just keep that in mind. Let me get down here. Man, it keeps this app, the YouTube app, continues to cycle through. I don't know why. After like 10-15 minutes running on my phone, it shuts down. It has to restart. Let's see. Do you need any more test plots local? I don't know, Kevin. I might. Shoot me an email at thegrassfactor@gmail.com and let's talk. See what we can get worked out. When is the best time to kill Bermuda grass on a fescue lawn? Mr. Lacona, I tell you, what you want to do is start in after the summer solstice. Typically, that's going to be late July, maybe even into early August. Sometime around there is when you want to begin. So what you want to do is you want to interrupt the photosynthesis process that's taking place in the plant, because after summer solstice, Bermuda grass is going through a carbohydrate storage cycle to prepare for green up the next year. By using a product that hurts Bermuda grass, then you get more movement to the roots. less green foliage that actually gets developed, less photosynthesis takes place, less carbohydrates that get stored, the harder for it is to come out of dormancy the next year. Overseeded my old lawn with tall fescue this year, and I noticed some gorgeous dark patches, but a lot of light green. If the old lawn was Kentucky bluegrass tall fescue, how much color difference would just be from newer cultivars? Man, that's really hard to say. Nathan, another thing it could be is the gorgeous dark patches could be tall fescue. The light green could have been Poa annua that came up and germinated before your tall fescue did. It also could be Poa trivialis, and that could be from tainted seed. It's really hard to say. If the old lawn was Kentucky bluegrass tall fescue, I would say that, shoot, man, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'd almost bet that those are weeds that are coming in. Y'all are shot out. What can I do to get my yard to recover from brown patch? Fungicide applied. Miguel Nera, what fungicide did you apply? How long ago did you apply it? At what rate did you apply it? And what is your turf type? Yeah, crabgrass works awesome for that. Man, if you have a fungus in the lawn, should you bag as to mulch? Ronald Parrish, if you've got active disease, man, bag it and toss it, because you definitely can pass it by mowing. How much should we be feeding that Bermuda grass? What are the peak months for Bermuda? So peak months from Bermuda are going to be May through August timeframe. Really, it's going to be up until the summer solstice. Summer solstice is the happiest day of the year for Bermuda grass because that's the longest amount of sunlight. As we begin to drop the amount of sunlight, the more we begin to drop from the performance of the Bermuda grass. So right now, we are in peak season, my friend. We should be feeding it quarter pound a week, maybe even less than that. Really, we could get by with, and yeah, there we go. Connor Ward, the lawn rebel. That's right. Where is Connor Ward? Somebody shoot Connor Ward a text. What is the best time to kill Bermuda grass on Facebook? I just did that. If I am scarifying overseeding every fall in the transition zone, can I hope to replace the old grass with newer cultivars over time within reason? Doesn't seem worth nuking it. Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. Yeah, it doesn't. I would agree that it's probably not worth nuking it. Yeah, I think you're gonna be good to go. My dollar spot seems to be going away, and I treated twice with Bayer and Milo twice this year. Been 28 days since my last Milo app. I bought the 14.3 Banner Max. Should I use it or just go with the Milo? If you're getting good results from the Milo, just go with the Milo. No real reason to add fungicide unless. And I'll tell you that we're kind of past the peak dollar spot season anyway, so you should be good to go without having to use the fungicide. Let's see. Popo and Son Lawn Care, what's up? What's up? What are your favorite products for Pythium? Phosphite, fertilizers, and methanoxam, Subdue Max. The methanoxam 2AQ is the new generic from Quali-Pro. You can tank mix that with something like tebuconazole too to increase your decrease your potential for resistance. He was the one who always thumbs down Ware's videos. It's always one person. I don't know, Telecoman. I have a few of those too. Chris, good luck with your sub $1. Chris, that's funny. All right. Let's see here. Probably some safety Sally giving him stress because he's not in a hazmat suit for the PGR and fertilizers. Would you recommend trying a 511 fish fertilizer on a lawn? Stephen Duncan? Yeah, absolutely try it out. Yeah, I'm all for trying things on a lawn, especially something like a fish fertilizer, super low risk. I mean, what's your big risk on that? Smell? You're good to go, man. Definitely try that out. Ionizing radiation and TifTuf equals Incredible Hulk. There you go. Yeah, good looking. Yeah, you did good. You did good. Fleet's there. How are you, Fleets? I think Bermuda's already infused with one of the Avengers. After turf burn, what is the best thing to use to help bring back the turf? This is what's kind of odd, Legend Landscape. After turf burn, typically the best thing to, I'm assuming you're talking about warm season grass. If you burn warm season grass with fert, the best thing you use to bring it back is more fert, which sounds counterintuitive. You know, you did your damage with the fertilizer. You got to flush it all out. So if you want to use something like a calcium sulfate, which is, damn it, what is it called? Gypsum. If you want to put down gypsum to flush all that out of the soil, then you can begin your fertilizer applications to start the recovery process. Michael Westenar, what's up, dude? How are you, sir? How long does Kentucky bluegrass take after germination is spread and thickened up for a lush lawn? Matt Michaels, I would typically say that you're looking at a full year. Give it a full year before it turns into something like, you know, Connor Ward's level of, well, not even that, but you're looking at a full year for it to really become a Kentucky bluegrass lawn. It would probably take a second year before it turned into something like Connor Ward's lawn, and you would have to mow it like he does too. Can aerate be used in the summer, or will it lose efficacy and be a waste? Captain Hiltz, you can use it in the summer, no problem. Hashtag baby life. I know your life, sir. I know all about that life. How do you add organic matter? Okay, all things hot. I did a video called the root cycling effect. The root cycling effect is the fastest way to add organic matter. Real quick, I'll break that down. You drive root development. The roots will push into a new layer of soil. Some will die, some will survive. The deposited root system will deposit organic matter back in the soil. It will be consumed by the microbes. They'll release the nitrogen, the other nutrients. The roots will take them up. It'll cause the plant to drive more roots even deeper. Some will die, some will live. The ones that die will break down into organic matter, will turn into nutrients. The plant will take that up. The additional nutrient will drive even more roots. So the fastest way to develop organic matter is to drive roots. The second fastest way would be to get organic matter into the soil. And you can get organic matter into the soil by using things like manures, compost, leaves, mulching your clippings. All of that deposits organic matter back into your soil. Milorganite. Getting dark out, Alan. You better get those pink birds in the house. Thank you, R. Johnson. Thank you. Catbird Feeder, how's it going? Down there in Mississippi. It might be the internet PPE police that thumbs down my Air 8 plus RGS plus Humic 12 plus microgreen equals thick applesauce and jelly. Glad I tested it in a jar and not in my spreader mate. I've mixed something similar to that, not that exact thing. But, you know, Telly, I'm also using a machine to spread it too, so I don't typically worry too much about that. That's not YouTube, that's Comcast. John T, you're exactly right. I haven't had any problems with the microgreen from Green County Fair. Like John Ware needs PPE. It's the Lawn Forum channel on chat. Yep. It seemed like a lot of people did, because I noticed the viewers went from 123 down to like 90 really quick. And that's pretty interesting. Azoxy at 0.2 per thousand tall fescue about 1 week ago. Where are you located, Miguel? Okay, so if you did at 0.2, so what does that come out to? Half would be 22, so that's going to be like 16 ounces. So that's the low rate of Azoxy. I wouldn't run just Azoxy at the low rate unless you're doing that preventatively. If you're trying to cure, you can run the low rate of Azoxy, but you also have to run a low rate of something like a DMI with it. So you would have to run Azoxy and propiconazole tank mixed together to get a curative action out of the Azoxy at the low rate. If you're running just Azoxy to control brown patch and tall fescue, you have to up your rate. Get your curative at like 32 ounces per acre. So that would be 0.4. Would it be 0.4? It'd be a little higher than that, wouldn't it? Be 0.6, something like that? 0.75? Maybe 0.75. Yeah, I think that's right. So even 0.2, that is lower than, I don't have a calculator in front of me. My math is not working. So 0.2 would be 42.5 divided by 5. What is that, 8? So that's like a half rate of Azoxy. So at the Yeah, man. You ran way too low of a rate. That's probably the issue. You'll want to reapply at a higher rate. And if you're doing curative on tall fescue, get that rate, up there to 32 ounces per thousand. If you have a neighbor scalping his grass weekly as a lawn care crazy guy, should I tell him? Matt Michaels, I will tell you that 98% of the time, the alpha mentality of your neighbor will take over and they will not listen to your advice. You have to wait till that neighbor comes to you and says, why does my yard always look terrible and yours looks nice? And then you can explain it. And then they're typically more receptive to listening to you. Matt, you ever use those early turf stress detection glasses from R&R? I thought those might be neat for $40. Well, John, no, I do not, but I do wear a particular lens tint. I wear a blue blocker lens tint to see turf stress. I have found that polarized blue blocker lenses help me see stress very, very, very quickly. And I modeled them after similar lens styles, that ones that Tifosi used to put out back when Tifosi was, the elite of the elite in the golf industry. I was gifted a pair one time, and those were awesome. And blue blockers, polarized, are typically the best things I can find for seeing something like that. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Carlsberg Car. Thank you. The laptop fun. I left my laptop at work. I got to buy a new one anyway, and I hope my wife turned off the live stream, because when my wife goes to Japan, I may buy a new laptop. Don't tell her, though. Connor Waters chatting with from MySpace. Anybody out there have any concerns with lawn maintenance around above septic tanks or drain fields? Yes. Future former lawn noob. Yes. And man, there is not a lot that can be done with that. Man, that's just a tough one. That is a tough one. Is there a max amount of N I can apply on my TifTuf 419 per month? Kevin intends to get into fill in bare spots. I would back it down and apply weekly, and apply maybe a quarter pound, maybe an eighth of a pound a week, something like that. Running a lower rate more frequently will get it to fill in faster than a high rate infrequently. John Ware, for every thumbs down I give you 2 thumbs up. I got multiple counts. Are you still liking the turf-type tall fescue cultivars you're trying? Are they holding up to disease in this Tennessee weather? Social Port, here's kind of the interesting thing. Yes, I very much like them. How are they holding up to disease? They came out, they were a little late to get disease. When they did get it, they got it all in a flash, and then they all recover really well from fungicide applications. They don't held up super well to heat stress. They tend to go dormant fairly quickly. These are first-year lawns, too, so I don't know how exactly that plays out. Like my front lawn, I have not watered it at all. It's still green as a whistle. Looks great, but, I haven't mowed it. I've done everything I'm supposed to do to it in that regard. So right now it looks good, and but, it's cat's kind of out of the bag right now. I'm not exactly sure 100% how I feel about it, but as of right now, I'm still giving it a thumbs up. I've decided to kill the 20,000 square foot front yard and put in water and do a Kentucky bluegrass like Mr. Ward. Even bought a bag to keep it clean. There you go, sir. Chris Gibson throwing it out. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Chris. I love old Gibby. John Ware. Could I apply a product from Carbon Earth Company to increase any OM? Michael Lane, absolutely you could. That is going to be one of the great things we do with it. Real quick, let me scroll through. Any risk of burning grass if applying sulfate of potash at a rate of 6.25 pounds per thousand in summer, tall fescue, low in transition zone? Mangoes, probably not. That's got a pretty low salt index, so there goes Ray. Way too much. Half pound of K. Oh, 6 1/4 pounds of straight sulfate of potash. My goodness, of a 0052, that'd be 3 pounds of potash at one time. Yeah, you're right, Ray. Ray is right. The lawn stripes, hashtag who farted. All right, y'all, I'm going to get down here. Okay, I wasn't too far behind. You're welcome, Miguel. You're welcome. You're in Nashville. Yes, sir. Get it out there and get it down, brother. RBL Jackson, what's going on? You out there working in the late at night? All right, everyone. I'm going to wrap up this. Chris Gibson's message retracted. I'm going to wrap up this show real quick. A little bit about the Carbon Earth product. We made more material. Right now, all the material we made is out for testing in all kinds of different places. All the equipment we're buying to manufacture the fertilizer, they're custom building for our size plant. And so they have all of our material right now so they can scale the size of their machines to fit the scale of our plant size that we're doing. In terms of everything that's in it, yes, it's going to contain organic matter. Yes, it's going to contain biochar. It's a very particular biochar source we're using. We're using a biochar source that undergoes pyrolysis in an oxygen-free reactor that heats to over 800 C. The goal there is to have the cleanest, closest to pure carbon chains in there as possible. This is what's going to give us the strong storage capacity and the ultra high porosity in our biochar. And then in addition to that, some of the other blends are going to have, like, the original Carbon X is going to be something like a 2006, and that 2006 is going to be that biochar, and a couple of other additional ingredients that we're using as a binder, and that's what's given us our slow release effect. And they're non-traditional binders. They're actually organic binders, and they're full of organic matter binders. So ammonium sulfate, potassium sulfate, micronutrient complexes, organic matter, and biochar are all going into that. And then to sweeten the entire thing, the prills are inoculated with RGS through and throughout the entire process. So pretty cool stuff. Super excited for how that's going to go out. But, we're still a little bit of ways away. We have to go through. Once we get all of this back from testing, I'm going to have a little bit of fertilizer on hand. Not all of that is going to be available for sale. We've got a lot that we have to do with that. If any does become available for sale, I will, of course, let everyone knows. CD Andrews, got your message. Don't worry. You are well taken care of, sir. You do not need to worry about it. All right, everyone. If you need a red clay-based non-irrigated lawnmower for testing in Zone 8, hit me up, Matt. Yes, sir, Jeremy W. All right, everyone. I'm going to call it. It's an hour and 8 minutes. I got to put the kids to bed. Hope everyone has a wonderful week out there. Again, if you want to find me, come hang out with me and the rest of the Lawn Forum group. Find us over at thelawnforum.com, or join us on the Discord chat. You can download a little app on your phone called Discord. Search for the Lawn Forum. Join the Shenanigans chat room, and we're in there all the time getting wild. Discord, boy! All right, y'all. Have a good night. Thank you for everything. I really appreciate it. See you next week.